Hello everybody, welcome to Eternal Brews. My name is Pojo, and today we're going to be looking at a Xenan brew that I cooked up called Azindel's Path. I actually thought that I had already done a brew on this, but I've actually only done a highlight, and with the addition of the new Into Shadow card, Azindel Revealed, we have a really interesting top end to go for this deck. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the list, and also just show you guys how this list works. So this is an Azindel deck, and not Azindel Revealed, although that is now the new capstone for the deck, but the old Azindel, Azindel the Wayfinder. Mystic Friend here, the promo card, gives you +1 maximum power, and whenever another unit goes to the void, additional +1 maximum power. The idea behind this deck is that we are ramping out very, very large recursive threats, specifically the new Vara Vengeance Seeker, Shadowlands Tyrant, and Worldbearer Behemoth, all of which, when they are returned from the void through Grasping at Shadows, Dark Return, or other effects, have the ability to get bigger and better the longer that they exist. So Vara, whenever she's summoned, either kills a unit or becomes a Shadowlands Tyrant, whenever it attacks, gets an extra +1 damage to its ability, and Worldbearer Behemoth plays an additional power card from your deck. So that's theme 1 of 2. There are 2 particular things that we are doing with it. First is that recursive threats, but the second part is that we are actually doing some interesting things with ramp and putting cards into our void. So we have Azindel the Wayfinder here, the 0/5 card, who gives us the maximum power, but also whenever a unit goes to the void gives us additional maximum power. That can be from any way that we want to put it into the void. It doesn't have to be from the battlefield. We can also discard cards from our hand or throw them out of our deck using mill cards, the Waystones. Invoke the Waystones, discards the top 4 cards of our deck, plays the top card, and then creates and draws a copy of itself, effectively giving us endless card advantage while also tossing a bunch of stuff into our void for all of the fun Xenan cards to up. So this allows us to not only search out things from our void that we might need, but also allows us to basically continually power up Azindel by tossing more and more our void over and over again. So those are the 2 basic ideas. Let's talk about how the deck sort of functions. First things first, we have all of our stuff in the early game to make it work. Talir's Favored is very, very simple, basic 2-drop that gives us the extra time that we need to play out Invoke the Waystones, as well as most of our time-heavy cards like Worldbearer Behemoth, central cards of the deck. Trailmaker sets up the maximum power and influence that we need to play out our deeper cards, particularly Azindel the Wayfinder, who is at 4, a double time, double shadow. Aurelian Merchant ramps us even further, but also allows us to pick out cards like Xenan Banner, Worldbearer Behemoth, Invoke the Waystones, and even cards like Sea of Teeth to solve particular problems that we might need to solve. Basically, this just gives us a guaranteed setup for whatever particular thing that we need, and then also allows us to play that thing to get better benefits. Yeah, Sea of Teeth is particularly fun. This is that new Into Shadow card that kills all attachments. This deck does not run any relics. It's really happy to cast this card at 7 and just blow out the board with a pile of little killer guys and all of the attachments in the game down. Fun, fun times. Okay, Ayan the Abductor is a stabilizing influence who also happens to recur certain things, make them bigger. This can be really handy if you just need a lot of beef on board, but he's also pretty good for stalling out aggro decks and preventing the early game from getting too taken over. Xenan decks really, really like having Ayan. This guy's just very, very powerful in the list and happens to be. So the early game here just sort of seals everything up. Once we have Azindel down, we basically just play Invoke the Waystones over and over and over again. Or we play cards like Shadowlands Tyrant and Worldbearer Behemoth, and then every time that they get removed by whatever we bring them back with Dark Return and Grasping at Shadows. When we can, we try to play these cards, Vara, Shadowlands Tyrant, and Behemoth, with Killer, using Twilight Hunt or Xenan Initiation. Twilight Hunt is the cheaper effect that also buffs up Worldbearer Behemoth, which is in fact a dinosaur. But either one of these will allow us to give this unit Killer, and then when it is recurred from the void, that will refresh Killer, allowing us to attack into units Again, this is the central removal that we have in this deck. We play big units, we smash them into our opponent's units, and then we don't play a lot of hard removal. Pretty good against Aegis type effects, but it does suffer some against hard removal combined with units. You have to be careful to actually be able to play the Initiation in the Twilight Hunt or the Grasping at Shadows into a killer unit when there's some sort of opportunity that isn't going to get sort of mashed by removal. Or you can just try and grind your opponent down. The fact that you get the free attack from Behemoth or Tyrant means that you often get a huge bonus effect just for getting your unit to attack the turn that it's played, and that's really, really helpful, tends to make a big difference. Finally, we have the new capstone, Azindel Revealed, our 7/7 who, whenever a unit hits an enemy player, draws the top card of their deck and reduces its cost by 2. A lot of people won't even let you see what cards you draw as Azindel. Such a big bomb. Not only does he play really well with Worldbearer Behemoth and all of the little tokens that we're running with, Aurelian Merchant, Trailmaker, all of those guys, but also he plays his own deadly unblockable Halichi, which will indeed do pretty ridiculous shenanigans and generally create like very, very bad situations. Azindel has a ton of card advantage, a ton of value. In some of our Greedthorn decks, we're actually like replacing 8 of the Huru with it, so we can just smash completely out of Primal. Like, this card is really, really cool as a top end, and it really gives Xenan something to shoot for. Before this, we used Royal Guardian in the deck, and we'll probably show you a version of that after we are done. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and go into a couple of games. We're going to show you how this deck works. It is delightful, delightful time, as you may know already from our highlights. So here we go, and see you guys there. Cheers. Okay, opening up against Red Rocket, and my opener looks pretty strong. I've got Trailmaker into Merchant, I have a Xenan Initiation, and I have a Worldbearer, so this is like basically everything that I could want. Got the extra power from Trailmaker and Merchant to get to Worldbearer Behemoth. I can Xenan Initiation Behemoth. This is exactly the kind of starter hand that we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and play it out and see what we can get out of it. Fire Sigil into a Xenan drone. My opponent's playing aggro. That's going to be a little bit tricky to deal with, but we do have Ayan the Abductor, so it's possible that we can find some goodie. I think we want to keep undepleted power so that we have the opportunity to play Ayan on 2 after playing Trailmaker, if Trailmaker dies to sort of torch-based effect or Vara's favor or something along. Just getting undepleted power here helps us make sure that we don't fast aggro. Alright, the deck didn't go super fast though, so it might be a little bit slower than I'm thinking, and maybe using sacrifice-based effects. Could be Callus deck, could be... I haven't seen a Brimstone altar deck in a very long time, but I do think it's still out there. It's possible that we'll see something like that today. I've got 3 time sources, so 1 more in set with Trailmaker allows us to just basically set up Invoke the Waystones, which we can get off Aurelian Merchant if we so choose. My opponent's got an assembly line. Okay, so this deck is fast. It's probably going to be playing Rally. There's probably going to be a lot of shenanigans. I could do Aurelian Merchant here, and I kind of think that that's a good idea, considering that that'll be Rally and a couple of other options. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and set that up. I can trade Dark Return here if I want to, or I could trade something else. I really want to have access to cards that deal well with tokens. Sea of Teeth is not a bad one. That's a really good way to kill a bunch of his stuff at once. It's kind of late game at the moment, but I am getting pretty close to 7, so that seems pretty reasonable to pick up. The other option would be to grab Worldbearer Behemoth just to have another unit, or to grab Azindel for the top end. I could also go for Invoke, but considering he seems to be trying to kill me really fast, I want to either make sure that I can play cards on time, or just set up with Sea of Teeth and happy with that. Alright, so we'll play the Crest of Mystery here. Another Crest of Mystery is, like, that's additional power, but I've got Worldbearer Behemoth. I don't think I'm going to need it. We'll probably just go ahead and end my turn here, and see what he does. If he chooses to swing all in for, like, a rally effect, I think we block with Trailmaker just to make sure that we blunt the damage of the rally. We don't want to take 12 off of a rally. Could be taking a little bit less. Another Xenan here. Looks like he doesn't have whatever he needs to finish this, so let's count the damage real quick. 5 plus 3 is 15, and we'd have to like double to triple block. I think I'm pretty comfy with just going ahead and playing out Worldbearer here. I don't think I need Ayan to save my life. Just still stuck at 3, so the most damage he can generate is 15, which kind of looks like he's going for. That's a little worrying, but we do have Grasping at Shadows here, so we can bring that card back if we need to. And yeah, if he's going all in, we're going to do the block. That's a little unfortunate. It means no Sea of Teeth, but we still get some pretty good shenanigans out of that. And I can actually play Ayan with Xenan Initiation, stabilize, which might be a good idea. Got like a torch here. I think I want to see it. Like he's going for a Dark Return on Grenadin Drone. I was apparently very silly and blocked a Grenadin Drone as opposed to a Grenadin. That could actually cost me. Always, 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 folks, sure to kill the non-drones first, because this guy, of course, brings guys back. Okay, so sadly leaves the opportunity for Torch. But he didn't play it on my Aurelian Merchant, which I assume would be a priority considering it has the 1 pack. Did just take the block, so I think we're gonna go Ayan. In an initiation. Kill the big guy, gain some life. We're just gonna keep stable and make sure that we don't die to the token. This attack is for 15 with Rally, so we do need a block and make sure that the tokens don't kill us. But I'm still gaining 4 a turn, and I can actually like hang back and block if I need to. I can just attack. I've actually got the Sea of Teeth. What a great card. Go ahead and play that. And that creates 5 killer piranhas. These new Into Shadow cards are pretty spiffy. Go ahead and knock out as many of those as I need to. I could leave 2 and just leave this Razortooth Piranha for something else, like a Shadowlands guide or something like that. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Just attack for 4 here. And I'll end my turn. Yeah, that's a really, really good card. It is not an amazing turnaround, but as a card that I was including specifically to deal with attachments, it's nice that it has a second use that I can actually... Okay, so we can bring back our Worldbearer Behemoth at this point, and might actually do so. Could also just bring back a Razortooth Piranha with ability. I think I'm not comfortable with that. We're just going to attack for 4, gain our life. The Stones card deck does not seem to be doing particularly well, so we'll probably just Grasping at Shadows here, get our Worldbearer Behemoth back. I'm at enough life that I'm not worried about what he's doing in terms of like trying to kill through, and I'm more worried about what he's got in late. I guess he's got more Annihilates, so I should have held on to my Azindel. Okay. So he's probably just found a torch, and he might be thinking about what he can do there. Madness is pretty rough. I think I'll just take it. This probably leads into a Combust. If I could have blocked with both of these units and actually lost one, then that would have helped, but sadly, no dice. An initiation allows us to killer one of these while still keeping a blocker. I don't think I'm particularly comfortable with that. I'd rather just either get rid of it or stay put. Probably just stay put here. Yep. So he gets his 2 damage in. We're stuck pedaling in reverse for a little bit. Just gonna try and figure out what we can get. Oh, he's got that 5/5 killer, Xenan. Good times. What a good Dark Return. Okay, well, Vara Vengeance Seeker is like a sacrifice. Gonna be pretty good. Yeah, that really works. So he's gonna ambush the Ayan in this turn. The best thing to do would be to kill one of the Grenadin now. Don't have to play Vara yet, and I probably shouldn't because it seems like there's a torch or something.
You will feed the darkness.
Ayan is a 5/5. Which is unfortunate because Vara's only going to be a 4/5, so I don't get a great result. Still get to play her. She still gets to eat. And then we'll just, with the 3/4, set ourselves up to be a little bit better. Or we'll get annihilated again. A bummer. Alright, so he's got a pretty good setup. He did sacrifice his Grenadin just to make sure that Vara doesn't come back bigger. So if we find a Grasping at Shadows or something, we can definitely get a better result out of that. That would be pretty ideal. Lumen Reclaimer feels pretty strong. I'm gonna go ahead and use Lumen Reclaimer to shuffle. An interesting choice. I could shuffle my own Void or his Void. I think what I want to go for is... Pretty happy with getting most of these units back, but I also kind of want to be able to resurrect them later, so let's just shuffle him up. Now the key thing about Lumen Reclaimer here is that if we put a Xenan Initiation on it, we're going to do right now, then we have a killer Lumen Reclaimer with a +1/+1 bonus. So when it shuffles copies of itself back into my deck, the 4 copies from Doom, all of those copies will have killer, and that'll help us out dealing with like some of his aggressive stuff. Although he's mostly tokens, so what I really need right now is life. Another assembly line, certainly rough. Worldbearer Behemoth is going to be a pretty good setup here. Obviously we could run into more Madness, that would not be great. Madness is a bane of this deck. We certainly don't like it very much. I would prefer to get myself into a position where I don't have to worry about it. Or not? Tyrant Merchant probably is grabbing a Madness from his market, so the ideal to get rid of Worldbearer Behemoth as soon as possible, or to in some way set myself up so that I don't die to Madness. Attack here is for 3. 6 follows up. Definitely block. Then I have to figure out what I can do to not die. Okay. That should be just good enough. Go ahead and trade on in. In my turn, and Ayan will be able to bring back something small to largish to help out.
You will feed the darkness.
Block there, see if there's a torch or something along those lines. Torch is the only answer that he can have. Got an Annihilate or something, then we're fine. I don't have any hybrid units in my... Those would be the best things to hit, just because I had so many sort of big cards happen so far. But yeah, we'll play a Vara here.
Now it's my turn.
That'll give us a little bit more lifesteal. If I want to attack for 3 here just to gain some life, that wouldn't be a terrible idea, but we would prefer to wait until we've had a bigger unit on. These token lists can, you know, they can spar for a while. We definitely need to get a little bit more going to get things moving. Sometimes this deck runs World Joiner. That would be a pretty good answer here to the tokens list, so we'll see what happens. Another Madness, it appears. It's possible he's going for Devour. If he's going for Combust, I kind of need to block the Spider, but I think he's got Devour here, so we'll let him hit us. Hopefully it won't be Combust. If it is Combust, then very sad. But no, it's the Devour, so he can bring that Vara back when he needs to. That's unfortunate. Stealing my Void Recursion is definitely rough. I'm going to go ahead and bring back... I think instead of a Worldbearer Behemoth, I want to bring back something like... maybe like a Trailmaker, something smallish that I can just trade in. Yeah, let's just throw a Trailmaker up. I want something that I'm not going to die to if it gets Madnessed, but unfortunately I don't have that option, so... Just have to pull our punches a little bit, block the spiders. Aurelian Merchant can fetch me extremely useful cards. Azindel amongst them, but I think Invoke the Waystones is definitely the way to go here. We grab this, get our Invoke, play the Invoke. We're just going to try and get as much value as possible while keeping as many blockers up as possible. The way that we win this is by filling the board and outvaluing his tokens deck. Oh, and we actually got Azindel off the top, so we're in pretty good shape now. A Madness doesn't stop us. He's still got the ability to get quite a bit of damage through, but Azindel here is going to help out. So, until we run into the next Madness, I think we're pretty comfy shape. Grasping at Shadows can bring back a unit from my Void. Vara seems like the obvious choice, but I think what we're going to do first is Invoke. Just to see if we can find, like, a killer effect for Azindel would be the best.
Waystones hold great power.
Another Ayan is definitely quite good. That's a little bit of extra lifesteal. So, since I've got 2 of these, I think I'm going to attack with this one. I want to get my health a little bit higher up, and if we can trade with a token here, I'm fine with that. Alright, just a little bit of free life gain. Cool. Gonna Devour here, get another token, get a few more cards together. Overall, that's feeling pretty good. Looks like it's renewed their subscription, so good times. Yeah, let me adjust that camera as well since we're getting a little bit weird. Yeah, this has been an intense game so far. Like, he's got a lot of good stuff going on. But overall, I think we're back in control. Just the constant invoking is definitely going to help us quite a bit. Alright, so we've got Dark Return on Corendon Merchant. Wasn't what I was expecting. I would have expected Vara.
You buying or not?
But I guess he doesn't have a particular goal with Vara, so that's fine. Maybe that's a madness, maybe that's a... could be ever scary Azindel's gift. We certainly don't want a gift right now. Okay, we've got Vara, and we've got another Vara. So that's a pretty good play. I think life is most important here, just like getting that extra health is really critical. So I'm gonna go ahead and play a Vara.
Now it's my turn.
That should get a token out of him. While Grasping at Shadow's another Vara.
You'll do.
Or I could get this Lumen Reclaimer. A little bit of killer wouldn't hurt. But I think that it's probably better to just grab more Vara.
Now it's my turn.
That should kill another token. Or just get us another 5/6? Okay. So I'll attack for 3 here, see if I can get a little bit more life gain. Wants to trade with a deadly unit, that's fine. Certainly would like to just get rid of as many tokens as possible, so... Alright, get up to 15, not too bad. I think he's choosing not to do this because he's looking for his like final, just sort of big win. Statuary Maiden's not a bad choice. Like, it's a really interesting pick off Corendon Merchant because it adds up to a lot of value on his part. At this point, I now need like a killer effect, and I would really, really prefer to not have to deal with tombs. Torch is fine. So he's going large here. This is a really good move. Like, I like it quite a bit, and it could end up being really, really good for him depending on what he ends up with. A 4/6 is large, but it's not as large as a Lumen Reclaimer 6/6. So that's what we're gonna go for. Pick this up. I won't get the Entomb, but I can shuffle up my Void, which I do need to do at some point. Go ahead and do that now. Put everything back in. Kill the Statuary Maiden. He gets a... whatever it is, that one... leg, arm. And then we invoke here, and as you can see, our power is going up quite a bit from all of the Azindel that we've been... went up another 2. Azindel revealed feels like a great pickup, so from here we can trigger one of these guys if we want to. Looks like everybody's dead, so we'll just go ahead and I think attack with everything. I want to get rid of these tokens as much as possible. 5/4/2. It's leaving me a little bit. I should keep some blockers up, just because rally and other things are pretty bad for me. We'll just trade in, see what we can get for extra Azindel power, and with that extra Azindel power, we'll be able to cast or invoke the Waystones, just continue to outvalue. Even though the tokens deck is very, very good at dealing with all of this recursion and all of the effects that we are actually running, like, overall, this is just going to help us quite a bit. So, yeah, feels pretty good. Okay. So, yeah, we are looking pretty solid. I get to invoke 2 more times next turn, and also just trade with his 5/4 if I feel like it. I don't have the ability to play Azindel and still get actual hits in. I really want to steal some cards from him, so we're going to try to get that set up. But at the moment, I just have to sort of swing.
Great power.
Brilliant Merchant could trade Invoke for something if I wanted it, like another Azindel. That doesn't feel particularly strong, so I think we'll just skip it. If I wanted to get a Dark Return, that wouldn't be terrible. I could just put Azindel away and go for a Dark Return, but I think we're going to skip that entirely. And just throw some cards away and get ourselves started up again. These games are always super long. Twilight Hunt allows us to kill the 5/4. That's pretty critical. Like he's got one last Annihilate in there. So no love. But we did trigger Nightfall, which is going to give a little bit of extra cards to everyone. And with my constantly dead and dying things, Azindel the Wayfinder is still sticking on board. Azindel's surprisingly hard to kill. There's just not a lot of cards that deal with him if you don't block with him. He's got enough health, he's a hybrid card, so he's just the right colors and setup to get everything he wants. My opponent attacking for 5 here. If I want to, I can double trade with him, just ditch my merchants and call that good. That'd set up Azindel pretty well, and it'd probably be okay. I don't know if I love it. I think I'd probably like to... I think I just want to leave that alone. At this point, I can attack for 3 every turn, get that life back. I'm in a pretty good health position, and I don't want him Dark Returning Corendon Merchant, so if he's going to Dark Return something, it should be my Vara. I guess it's probably fine either way. Okay, Callus gives him a 10/10 weapon. He could probably find like a smuggler stash or something along those lines. There's definitely some things that could end up happening. But he did clear out his board, so that means that I get to throw a Azindel. And now I get 3 cards off the top of his deck. Ear Cruncher, not bad. Corendon Merchant, definitely good. Scrap Tank feels pretty solid. Corendon Merchant gets me an Azindel. Scrap Tank is a Scrap Tank, there's nothing wrong with that. And Vara is a 5/6 lifesteal, which feels pretty strong. Go ahead and play that down. If he wants to hit my Azindel, that's fine. We got another one coming from his Corendon Merchant. So we're just going to steal 6 cards off of him, and that should be the game.
You buying or not?
I will exchange my expensive Invoke for Azindel. You only ever need 1 Invoke. Play Azindel.
You shall witness true power.
Get 6 cards. Yeah, we just outvalued the Stonescar Scrap Up. Annihilate, Dark Return, Shadow Sigil. Boy, all these cards really work well for me. Okay. So, similar to our last Azindel highlight, that might actually be the only game that we play. I think that one was close to 20 minutes or so. So we're just going to go straight into the post-mortem. We will play more games with this deck at some point. We're probably going to record a few more highlights with it. But I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you in just a moment. Oh, slide aside, time level 75. What is it? I think it's just Shiftstone. Oh, no, Premium Amber Rings. Nice. Alright, that's it for today. Different variation of the same deck. This version is a little bit lighter on some of the mid-rangey threats, and it focuses a little bit more on Invoke the Waystones with another top-end card to hit, specifically Royal Guardian. I've really liked this card in the Azindel Invoke deck. It wasn't in our previous highlight, and we are looking forward to showing off some Royal Guardian games at some point. But yeah, if you hit Invoke the Waystones into a Royal Guardian, the chances are pretty good that you automatically get the tribute for it, which is you gain health equal to the number of cards in your void, which turns out often ends up being 20 and 60 health. That can be really, really insane. There are some cool things you can do with it, including setting off like that one card, I believe, Cultist card that actually deals damage equal to the gain. But by itself, this card is just a really interesting stabilizing influence when you want to play higher end dirtling. So if you are using Invoke a lot and you're trying to get something good out of it, then this is a good way to do that. You can Invoke, 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 then you Grasping at Shadows, or do something along those lines to get Royal Guardian back, and that ends up being fun of it. So that list will also be in the YouTube description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a really, really good night. I will see you. Cheers.